Gambling is a crime that creates a wide social harm such as death, family breakdown, and related criminal act, which is why imprisonment is necessary to give strong deterrence and protect society. In the status quo, laws like Indonesia's Criminal Code Article 303 already impose up to 10 years of imprisonment for gambling, showing that the state treats it as a serious offense. If this punishment replaced with only social service and skill training, offenders will not thoroughly their lesson, and because the consequence is so light and it will fail to make them afraid of repeating the same act. Therefore, we oppose the motion because we don't want gambling offenders to escape a real punishment and come out without deterrence, which would only make the problem worse in the future. And to make this debate clear, I will explain the framework. First, we don't want to replace prison sentence with just skill training, because that wouldn't be effective. And second, in the prison, they can still receive skill training because they will also get time to exercise and do social activity and be disciplined. And third, with the existence of prison, there will be deterrence and afraid of repeating the same mistake or committing the other crime. And the biggest worriness in the government side, like prison is too scary and inhuman. Yes, prison is indeed designed to be intimidating because that's part of the deterrent effect to prevent both offenders and society from repeating the same act. And the modern prisons are not only about punishment but also provide rehabilitation programs, so they cannot simply be labeled as inhuman. Moreover, if poor people who gamble are rewarded or punished with skill training, while the other poor people who never commit to gamble crime get nothing, that's clearly unfair and will create an inequality. And even if we assume reasons are frightening, that fear is necessary, because without it, gambling would be seen as a minor violation and the offenders would be more likely to re-offend. And the other problematic stand from the government side is gambling is non-violent crime and that wouldn't hurt anyone. If we see it directly, yes, gambling didn't hurt anyone, but we need to see the other point of view. Like the person who gambling, they will often borrow recklessly or do some online loan shark, and then they end up in debt. And of course, they hurt themselves. And moreover, they will do anything to fulfill their addiction, like steal money from their cousin, their family, or do some scam, and that will harm the society, educators. And even if they didn't hurt anyone, but they already break the legal norm, so of course they should go to prison and regret their lesson. Two arguments that I will bring in my speech. First, I will talk about why is the idea of providing social service and skill training to the gamblers such a problematic idea, and second, I will talk about crisis of justice and legal discrimination. Move to my first argument. The idea of providing service and skill training to gambling offenders is a problematic idea because gambling is not just a personal choice but a criminal act that harms others, damns themselves, and breaks the law. Gamblers often steal money to fund their addiction, borrow recklessly, and drown in debt, and also break the rules, all of three of which are the basic ground for imprisonment. Without prison, offenders will not feel deterrence. Instead, they may see gambling as a light mistake, and the society will do gamblers too because they see someone who gambles will get a benefit and get a social training. And for example, imagine someone who never commit to gamblers but they remain poor and they get nothing, while the gambler not only avoid prison but also receive skill training and get a chance to build a better life. This unequal treatment would encourage more people to gamble, make the practice more widespread, and ultimately show that the government fails to enforce justice and protect their citizens. And move to my second argument, providing social service and skill training to gambling offenders can create a crisis of justice and legal discrimination. Of other criminals with minor offense like petty theft, fraud are still punished with imprisonment, while gamblers would instead receive lenient treatment in the form of skill training. This unequal treatment creates injustice because the law appears inconsistent and selectively productive. Thus, such inconsistency can erode public trust in the legal system, as a law are not applied equally, risks making the society less willing to obey the law. For example, where people see many families financially ruined by the online gambling, but the offenders only receive skill training, they will perceive the laws as unfair and even become more permissive toward the gambling. And we don't want gambling to spread and be normalized, where it eventually becomes part of daily culture and extremely difficult to control.